The Rolling Stones are one of the longest-running acts in show business. They've been performing together since 1962, playing all over the world and influencing generations of fans. There are few acts who can boast such longevity. But there is one impressive group still with their original 4 members right here in St. Louis. These are the St. Louis Ragtimers, and they've been together more than 45 years. Now, they don't have the worldwide tours under their belt like the Stones do, although they have played in Canada. But they have managed to continually perform America's first musical genre, ragtime, since 1961.
We were hired to play an engagement in Joplin, Missouri at Mickey Mantle's Holiday Inn. And we played it. It went over very well. And we were driving back from Joplin, and it was like a Mickey Rooney movie. We thought, okay, we're going to start this band, and people are going to come from all over to hear us. And Don said he knew a cornet player, Bill Mason, over here. And Don said, well, if we can get the 4 of us together, I know these people on Gaslight Square. They have the Natchez Queen, and they're looking for a band.
Keystone of the Renaissance of the West End is Gaslight Square at Boyle and Olive. The street's beginning to take on the look of the fashionable 90s. Crowds are so thick on weekends it's almost impossible to find a parking place in the immediate area.
Gaslight Square was filled with coffee houses, restaurants, and nightclubs.
In the summertime, when it was really crowded, it was very often, every night was like New Year's Eve.
And although most venues in Gaslight Square were filled with people, the St. Louis Ragtimers made sure they would be a popular hit.
We went down there Labor Day of '61. They said, well, come on down, we're going to be open. We don't think there'll be many people there, so we'll audition you. Well, we fooled them. We called everybody in town that we knew, and the place was packed. So we played about 45 minutes, and we were hired and to play 3 nights a week, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Well, the nice part is all those same people kept coming back. And we were lucky in that we were playing on Gaslight Square, and we were exposed to a lot of people that would never have heard us at all.
Exposure for any band is important, but especially the Ragtimers. Ragtime music was in its heyday back in the early 1900s, when the king of ragtime, Scott Joplin, lived in this house on Delmar Boulevard. Now, it has had its peaks and valleys through the years, but when these guys were forming the St. Louis Ragtimers, the sound of rock and roll and those Rolling Stones were coming on strong.
All right, here's a nice little ragtime march that we'd like to do. It was written by Scott Joplin in 1904, published in Sedalia, Missouri.
So why choose to play ragtime over, say, rock and roll? Well, ragtime is an important element in the development of popular music in the 20th century. Since the heyday of ragtime mostly preceded recorded music, it's primarily a written custom, and few recordings exist.
This started as an improvisational art, but sheet music was a hot seller in the early 1900s, so it evolved into a written form that could be sold as sheet music.
Trevor Titchener doesn't just play piano in a ragtime band, he's a ragtime expert and teacher.
There are 2 different rhythms playing simultaneously. We have an uneven rhythm in the right hand playing a syncopated melody, and the left hand maintains an even, steady time. So if you hear the left hand by itself, it has an even and steady rhythm like the ticking of a clock. With the right hand, syncopated melody is very uneven. when you put them together, something magical happens.
And that magical thing is why these musicians perform ragtime and why they've been doing it for the last 45 years.
You'll be left alone. On telephone and tell me on your own.
In the mid-1960s, the Ragtimers moved their regular gig to the Goldenrod Showboat down on the river. They played there for the next 20 years, hosting week-long ragtime festivals and making memories along the way.
I met my wife on the Goldenrod Showboat, and we were married on the Goldenrod Showboat, right under the chandelier in the bar room. You could have made a Western movie out of it.
Who was the band playing at your wedding?
Yeah. Well, guess who? Yeah, in fact, I've never paid them.
Hey, wait, I've been meaning to talk to you about that.
The St. Louis Ragtimers don't perform as often as they used to.
Partly because many of our fans have died, as we've been together 45 years. So we do call people up, and we're usually telling them, well, we're looking for people that are still alive.
But Titchener says that even though the ragtime following is limited, it does have a dedicated fan base, even a young fan base, still all these years later.
I was wondering if back then if we'd be still playing 45 days from now.
Many bands kind of break up after a while, and you wonder, well, that's a great band. Maybe it's personality conflict. But I think this is a great bunch of guys, and we like each other, and
Yeah.
that's the secret.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss, my wife. My heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. You'll be left alone.